Hello, good evening. My name is Mcreid with Mcreid Project X. I'm a project manager. I've been one for a very long time, to 20 plus years, in different areas, which is banking, construction, agriculture, software development, you name it, supply chain now, you name it, I've done it. I'm creating a Google Workspace class, excuse me, somebody's gonna, a Google Workspace class to help first-time project managers to, to stay above water. Because these days now, if you haven't noticed, clients are just releasing project managers. They don't have time for you guys. They don't. And I'm telling you the truth. Look at my face. I'm telling you the truth. They'll fire you. It's not like the way it used to be, where they'll hold you for 90 days and say, okay, we'll wait, we'll be patient for 90 days and see if she gets it. They'll release your ass after 2 weeks. Let me say something. Nothing against PM certification at all, because I do have mine. But for me, PM certification don't teach you really the real of project management. The only thing they'll teach you is like work breakdown structure. You have to learn how to set that up, WBS, road mapping, methodologies, and that type of thing. That's the basics. But I'm talking about the game, the project management game, to stay afloat, to stay in the game, because it goes by personality too as well. If they don't like you, you're gone. You could be the high certification person with a high certification, even a bachelor's degree. You will definitely get took. You'll get took. Now, I'm not saying nothing against education, but me personally, I mean, if companies ask for certification, that's what they want, is good to have, but you really don't need it. I'm being honest with you. Project management is like running your own home. Like, you just have basic projects like, okay, I have to fix that window. That's a project. How long is it going to take? 60 days? That's a project. I'm going to get my car fixed. I'm going to add spoilers to it. I'm going to add hubcap, whatever. I'm going to put new tires on it. That's what we need to do to make that car running. We need to do oil change. When are we going to do that? Oh, okay. We're going to do it I'm going to get it done within 30 days. That's a project. That's project management in a nutshell. So all these, and the thing that I like most is the thing that not drives me crazy, but I find very interesting, is that they make up 100 different titles of project manager, but it ends up being the same thing: delivery manager, change manager, POS manager, this type of manager, and things like that. It's all project management in different areas. So I'm creating a class, because I've seen it too many times. I'll create a class where the things that you need to know, because you can go in with your PM certification book, your PM BOK, whatever. It's not gonna make a difference. It makes a difference as far as learning how to do, like I said, doing shapes and Visio and creating processes. Teaches you all that, but I'm talking about gangster, the game, like the game. Because project management in corporate America is a big game that you're playing. And when they hire you, they expect you to know everything. Even if you've never worked in that company for 20 years, you better walk in there, act like you know something. So I'm going to go through the different languages and different things that you need to know as a project manager to get you in that door and to keep you afloat for 60 days, because they're not going to train you. They're going to train you, they're going to show you, but they're not going to train you. These companies are not training people anymore. It's a waste of time. They need somebody now, and they need somebody who gets it quick. Okay? It's like acting. It's like they give you a script, you better learn that script in 3 days before we go into production. That's what you have to do. You have to learn things. So when you walk into a company, the least of your problems is knowing what door should I go to. The things that you need to know what the methodologies are, and listen carefully to what they're saying, what they want you to do, and when they want that project done. So when you're sitting in a meeting and things like that, you need to know what these people are saying. You need to know what they're saying. And they don't like when you take notes either, because it shows a weakness. I take notes because I take it on. The reason why I take notes, not because I don't know anything, because I like to keep it in the file. So when I go to my next project, I can see it. I can go back on and say, oh yeah, I've done that before. When was that? You know. So what I'm doing is that I'm creating a one-stop shop project management thing. You go in, you just look at the different things what you need to do, and I'm not talking about stuff from your project management books like your college or the PMBOK book, the Babbitt book. This is street knowledge, straight from the street. What you need to do, when you go into that manufacturing company, that construction company, that software company, anything else that you need to go in, you need to go in hard, son. Like you need to go in hard. Like I wrote here, like I just started my thing, I said, one-stop shop project management, let's get to the point. What you need to know is when you walk into the building as a first-time project manager, the company hired you to start right away, and honestly, they don't like to spend time on training. It's a fact. It is up to you to be the project manager that needs 2 weeks. It's up to you. I have to fix that. It's up to you to be the project manager that needs a 2-week training, or the project manager that is ready to dig their heels on the first 2 days. 10 days. I gotta fix that. But my whole thing is this: it's like you need to make a decision now. What type of project manager you need to be. Either you become the project manager that needs a 2-week or the 3-month training, or you become the project manager that walk in that door after 2 days. You better know what you're doing, or even act like you know what you're doing. The companies right now are behind on their projects, and they lost a lot of employees due to mandates, that COVID vaccine stuff, that bull crap that was going on before, and stuff like that. So the projects are behind. Companies are bleeding. They're not up to date, and they're breaking contracts with companies that they're promising a service and they're not getting a service because they lost employees due to this mandate. Okay? So I wrote that these companies that hire you do not want to train you at all. They need you to jump like you were there 20 years, meaning that they need you to be like that they never hired you, always there. That's the type of person they're looking for. You need to get things fast. For your information, you may disregard their processes, which can be infuriating because you feel like it doesn't make sense. When I walk into companies and I get hired for projects and things like that, sometimes their processes don't make no sense at all. None. And sometimes I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm sitting here going like this, how does that work for you? It makes no sense. You're making things harder than it is. No wonder your projects are failing. I mean, if you don't think like that as a project manager when you walk in the door, you're not a project manager, because a project manager looks at things to see something wrong and try to fix it. But some of these companies don't want you to do that. They get upset. They don't want to make changes. So when you walk in there trying to make things easier, sometimes you have you have people that you work for, like bosses or sponsors and things like that. But they call them sponsors, supervisors, people that are they don't, they only know what they know. But you're an updated project manager. You probably know more than they do. And they get mad with you because you're trying to change what they already started. They don't. There's some of these. No offense to anybody's age or anything, because I'm older, but I keep up with the times. I educate myself all the time. I update myself to know different things. These project managers that has worked in one company for 30 years and things like that. And when you walk in there and try to do something, and then they get scared that you might take their job and things like that. They have the power where they can just say, "Oh, I don't like her," and then you're gone. So most of the time when you're actually released and things like, it's not your fault. It's their fault because of their insecurity. So if the companies want to keep these old bag waterfall methodology supervisors, project managers that's been since the fossil days, that's on them. Just keep it moving. Don't get offended. If you walk in, it's not because most of the things was what you did. It's because of the old ways. They don't want anything new, and that's why they're failing. And I know a lot of companies that are going through this right now. So I also wrote in here, if you're not questioning the process as being a waste of time and possibly the reason why projects are failing, you're not a project manager. How many times you walked in somebody's house and you see the dynamic of the way people put their furniture, and you're like, this don't make sense. Like for instance, my mom came to visit me in Pittsburgh, and I set up my house the way it makes it easy for me. So I put the teacups on top of the stove. and I put, I'm talking about in the cabinets. I put the teacups on top of the stove and the plate, because if I'm cooking and making tea, it's easier for me to just pull things down. She want me to move my plates and my cups all the way to the other side of the kitchen and walk it over to the stove. That didn't make sense to me, and it confused her. My way confused her, because she felt that why should I know that it makes sense for you to put your teacups, all hot plates and teacups, go on top of the stove because you're cooking, and when you finish eating, you just reach over and grab a plate. No, it wasn't good enough for her. She wanted it on the other end, and it made no sense. It made no sense. That's the type of thing that's going to happen when you work with these old fogies. And when I say old, I don't mean like in the body, I mean in the mind. Because I know somebody, I'm older too, and I know somebody in their 70s that has a mind of a 25-year-old, and this woman is sharp as hell. And she taught me, like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. So it's not the body, it's the mind. If you don't want to make changes and you don't want to upgrade yourself, and you're riding the fence of project management, and you don't want to educate yourself to learn more, and you are in the supervisor position, and you meet one of those, you will not last, because they will not change. They will not change. That's the truth. And anybody who has worked in project management knows that when you work with someone that is older in the mind, not the body, the mind, and they don't educate themselves, but they got that promotion 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and they haven't left that position, and they have people that's under them that knows more than them, and they're the ones that hold the power, and the people upstairs that have them say, oh, she may not know a lot, but I trust her, and I'm going to keep her right there. They keep them right there, and they make the projects worse, and they don't want to look into why the projects are failing, because you have people with old brains that don't want to update themselves, still working there and holding back people like me, as well as younger than me, to complete the job. Because they don't want to lose. If you don't want to go back to school and you don't want to learn an updated things about project management, or even go into business analysis, or learn another level of Excel, there's no point in you doing this. Sit back and let the rest of us do it. Because then at that point, when you get released and the agency calls you on the phone, so-and-so, I just want to let you know the company decided that is not a good fit. No, the reason why they decided that is because they were afraid that you might take their job. So don't sit there and assume that you don't know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. It's them that don't know what they're doing. And it's hard, because it's hard to find a company that wants to change. So when you see project management and things like that, oh, I got fired. You didn't get fired. You got released because somebody knew that you were right. And they didn't want to bring that up, and they didn't want management to look at you, because apparently, I think this has happened to me before, where I was working with this lady, right? And I knew more than she did, but I never said anything, and I didn't care. You know what I mean? You teach me, I teach you. I was going with that attitude. I discovered a variance in a gas pump thing. This is in regard, I'm not going to mention the company or her. So I discovered why there was a variance in the gas pump. I found that out 2 weeks after I started this job. Then they decided that, and I knew that was going to be a problem for me, because the head man was impressed with me, and she didn't like that. But she was a supervisor. She had it, and she had the power, because she's the one that asked for the help. So she called the agency and told them that, we can't, I can't do that. So she didn't even give them a reason, because I knew the reason. So I told the agency, I said, the reason why this happened is because I found the problem that they was trying to find out for 6 months as to who was stealing gas. And I found out what it was. And because I found out what it was, what do you think? That would have shot me to the moon. But she didn't want that. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach, with my experience, I'm going to teach, give certain tips on what you need to know. All right, forget all this bull crap with Facebook and books, and they're showing you. No, you need to know the game, not the book level, not the right thing to do, but the street level project management that you need to know, because you need to be a street person in order to make things happen. You cannot take it straight from the book. You cannot do that, because not to say that you won't fail, but things will move a little slow. You need to know how to get this done without the book. You need to have instincts. You need to have confidence. You need to have strength. You need to be smart as hell, because these companies do not train anymore. And eventually in another year, you're going to have to walk in there like you've been working there for 20 years. And if you don't know what you are doing, you will get fired, and you'll have 6 jobs in 1 month, because you don't know because you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, meaning you're not protecting yourself. Okay? There is no lawsuit, there is no 90 days, and when you sign those papers, I have a meeting in an hour, and when you sign those papers about mitigation and things like that, whatever, you signed away your rights for you to sue them. So if you get released, don't worry about it, you'll get another job. But the thing is that the best thing for me personally, I just keep moving, and I learn from it. Any mistakes that you made on the last one, move to the next one. Don't worry about it. But I'm gonna teach you tips on how to stay on, and how to stay live, and how to make your own choices, and how to call the shots on your own stuff. And if you have an idea and you know that it works, and you bring it up to management, and it doesn't coincide, or it makes sense, and their processes don't make sense, and they don't want to make a move, start looking for another job, because you don't want to be stuck on done. If you know that your idea is a surefire way to make that company grow, and they don't want to hear it, just work there and silently move to a next one that actually wants to grow. And usually the best companies are the startup companies to work for. You may not get a lot of money, but at least you have, I think that at least you take control over the situation. You take control over the job, the way the processes work, because the easy processes, the easier we make things, the better. But some of these companies are so stuck on these processes. And I was in a company once where the person who made a process for the company actually friggin' died. And the person is dead, retired, and they still doing it the same way this 1960-something woman made the process in that company. I'm like, this is too much. Like, when are you going to change? When are you going to do something? Because this company is making $1 billion, and you only bringing in 25 million to that billion, and you got the same amount of people, the same structure, you're doing the same thing. Why are you not making the money? Why are you not in the billion class? Because you're following an old process. And I'm pretty sure there's project managers that went in there that tried to change, but these people did not want to change. So you have the same old VP, the same old people running a company, and they're still back in the 60s when this is actually 2022. Pick up the pace, change your system, change it. But they don't want to hear it. And sometimes they see somebody like me, and I don't want to say much. Who is she to tell me what to do? I have the idea to move this. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. So the best thing for you to do is to wait 6 months, get to know their process, sit down one day and sacrifice a day or two, and figure and look and say, how can I make this easier? Make a workflow chart plan and show them that how how this will work. And then give it to them and see if it works. Some of them just scrap your idea. And if they don't listen, or they don't, make sure you copyright it first before you do anything. Yes, I said it, copyright it. Because sometimes they'll scrap your shit and put it in there. And then when they get desperate after they fire you, they use your process, because it has happened to me. No, but I didn't get fired. I just left. But I left my process behind, thinking that they dumped it. They didn't dump it. It's in a folder. So when I left and came back to this company, I noticed that people were doing something that I was like, this looks familiar. How do you know how to do that? Oh, they taught us that. I said, oh, they took my process and they taught y'all guys. So I didn't even confront it. I just worked 30 days and watched my whole process being done right in front of me, and I couldn't claim it. So I left. So the best thing for you to do is just, think, protect yourself, and always know more than the next guy. Because what your left hand don't do for you, your right hand will. Meaning that if you're in job A ain't working and it's not to your liking, job B is willing to listen and pay you more, go. And if job A matches that and will respect you, that's your choice. Either you stay with them or you still leave. Choice is yours, but I'm going to show you like the street level project management that you need to know to make things happen and protect yourself. So all in books and things like that, they teach you the right way how to do things. Fine, you could do that. That's good to learn it. But if you need to know something now where you ask less questions, I will have that for you. And I'll definitely put it in, announce it, and I'll put it on the web. And and then that'll be it. So I just want to let you know there's someone out there that actually cares. And there's someone that actually want to see you win. And that's me. So, but thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic day and a nice weekend. And thank you for listening to Mcreid, which is me with Mcreid Project X. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.